Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar on Real3D measurement update. My name's Tom Danvers. I'm a product manager for Waygate Technologies. Thank you for joining me today. So yes, I'll be taking you through all the news associated with the measurement elements and the Real3D measurement elements associated with the latest software update to our Mentor Visual IQ Plus. And also introducing this new feature associated with visualizing the scene in a point cloud. So that's Real3D stereo. Let me click on to the next page. So yes, an overview of what we're going to be spending talking about. This is going to be probably 30, maybe 40 minutes long. We've just released a new software update for our Mentor Visual IQ Plus system. It is software version 4.10. It's kind of boring talking about these numbers, but every year or sometimes twice a year, we bring out new updates through the software and open up and unlock new features that we've been working on behind the scenes. So this came out live just a few weeks ago, early in January 2025. It's now available for upload and update of your device, your MVIQ device. So once again, we're going to be focusing on the Real3D measurement elements associated with OS 410, and also the image transformations or true sight imaging elements associated with the OS 4.10. So more specifically, a new area measurement technique called auto area. And we have this new image transform called Live3D stereo. All of these features really that we work on behind the scenes and expose to you, our customers out there on our devices, are all designed to essentially make the tasks not just simpler and more efficient, but also really exposing new workflows that perhaps weren't possible in the past, or they're optimizing existing workflows. So a lot about auto area really is enhancing and updating the method upon which we carry out area measurements today. So I'll take some time reminding us all of what Real3D is all about before specifically going into auto area and Live3D stereo. And I always like to spend a bit of time moving away from the PowerPoint slides and into the real demonstration. So I'll be showing you for real on my Borescope. So we'll do a practical demonstration before closing, and really actually also reminding you about how to get the software if you haven't got it already on your MVIQ Plus device. So let's make it start. So an overview of Real3D measurement. Now I've got a few slides on this topic, this being one of them. I'm not going to talk about all the words here, but in terms of Real3D measurement, it's associated with the Real3D stereo and 3D phase measurement. So as you can see in this table, there are actually 4 measurement technologies that we have on our borescopes, certainly for the MVIQ Plus borescope: comparison, stereo, 3D stereo, and 3D phase. And when you hear me talking about Real3D measurement, that corresponds to 3D stereo and 3D phase. And then what you see on this table are all the different measurement types. There's a long list now, so I have to keep squeezing the table up when we create new measurement types. So we now have 13 measurement types. So when you count down from length all the way down to surface angle, there are 13 measurement types now that we've added this one for auto area, as you can see in my highlighted box. So I'll be specifically talking about auto area. But this is just to remind you that this corresponds to not just 3D phase measurement, but also 3D stereo measurement. And just as a reminder, down at the bottom, you see where it says auto, repeat, and measurement plane. Those aren't measurement types, but those are features or capabilities that we have on our device to enable certain things to happen and enhance the measurement experience or workflow on our device. So those are additional buttons that we have on the Borescope in the measurement page Borescope. Those aren't measurement types, and hence why I've kind of treated them slightly differently. And then when you move out of Real3D measurement, in terms of comparison and stereo measurement, those are really considered certainly much more basic types of measurement technology. Comparison is really counting pixels on your screen. So if you've got a reference image of a given size or diameter or depth, and you can scale against that, so that scale corresponds to a feature that you might obviously then want to measure on that image. It's very prone to error and associated with the angle upon which you present the device, and perhaps how many pixels that you have and how accurate your reference part is. So it's not really a common measurement type. Stereo is for stereo tips, just like 3D stereo. You use the same tip, but the software used to generate the measurement from stereo is different to the software used to generate 3D stereo measurements. And as you can see, the number of measurement types for 3D stereo is much more enhanced. So the technology is very similar. Certainly the tips are the same, but the software and the algorithms are slightly different, such that you will get much more repeatable and accurate measurements with 3D stereo. Moving across the 3D phase, that's kind of our sort of crown jewels, in as much that those are ideal tips for not just inspection, but also measurements. So a lot of our customers will use these tips for generic inspection purposes, such that when you find something of interest and you want to interrogate it and measure it, you don't need to pull the probe out of the engine or your asset. You basically press a button and off you go. Well, nowadays you can actually talk to your device and command a measurement through voice. And I'll demonstrate that on the practical demonstration. But yeah, moving on, area is where we're going to be focusing on for the next sort of 10, 15 minutes or so. Really just talking a little bit more about what Real3D looks like on your device. If you're not very familiar with the MVIQ, there's lots of different views that you can generate. But what I'm really just showing you on this slide is really the ability to interrogate and be confident in your assignment of your cursors when you're interrogating this image. So this happens to be a crack emanating from a trailing edge of an aerofoil. And this is a point-to-line measurement. And the greatest source of error is ourselves, in as much that it's usually us, because it's not all fully automated. This is a manual process of assigning cursors onto the screen. So where you place your cursors will have a profound effect on the accuracy of your measurement. And so by using Real3D measurement, whether it's the stereo tip or the 3D phase measurement tip, you will have the ability to interrogate that scene using your point cloud. And so what you see on the right-hand side of the Borescope image is the representation of that surface in 3D. And by gesturing on the screen, you're able to rotate, pinch, and zoom in and making sure that your position of your cursors is precise. And even by use of the zoom window that you see on the top right-hand side here, by tapping on those four corners of the circle, as it were, you're able to really fine-tune the position of your cursors. Again, it's all about in the interest of generating the most accurate result as possible. So that's what it looks like in terms of on our measurement type screen. So there's lots, as you were shown earlier on the table, lots of different measurement types. The new one that we're going to be talking about is the one that is actually highlighted. It's just here on the auto area. But just to kind of let you know, there's lots of different length measurements. So length, multi-segment, and point-to-line. So they're all length-based measurements. They have their own place. There's certain instances where you would assign one type over the other type. And I've done a webinar on this topic earlier. Depth measurements. So we have basic depth where you're placing a reference plane with three cursors and the fourth point is projected. It's also projected automatically, but you can manually assign the position of all those cursors. Depth profile is where basically you're assigning 2 points and you're being able to discern not just the depth, but also the height across two given surfaces. So if you're interested in the profile of a surface, perhaps it's a weld bead or perhaps it's a depression, then depth profile, but also area depth profile, which is the same as depth profile, but in 3 dimensions. It's an area, so it's 2 dimensions, and you can generate a profile across an area. So they're both area, a depth profile, and depth profile, as well as plate tip clearance and depth. So there's 4 different types of depth measurements that we have now. Area, and obviously now I'll be talking about auto area and missing corner. So 3 different types of area measurements. And last year on the launch of the MVIQ, essentially 12 months from now, last year, we generated the new angle and surface angle measurements. So this list grows and grows and grows. And radius gauge is another one that's a little bit different to all the others, and hence why it has its own little sort of point there on this table. In as much that it provides a reference upon which of a given diameter or radius, and you can offer that up against certain surfaces and determine the radius or size of an edge, a curved surface using radius gauge. So there's lots of information that we have on measurement in previous webinars, but also our measurement handbook that I'll be mentioning later on. But again, I'll be talking about auto area in this session. And a brief note about Learn More. So this is available on our MVIQ Plus platform. It provides additional information, sort of very small bite-sized information that you're able to read a few sentences and look at a short sort of video clip of the different, in this case, different measurement types that you see here. So here you can see I've entered into Learn More, as you can see on the top of the page, and selected auto area. And you can read the information associated with auto area and view the video clip, and there's some more information on page 2. So Learn More is a real useful area, a part of the device where you can just spend a few minutes. You don't have to look up a manual. The manual is available on the device, but we appreciate it takes time, and you're on a small screen, and the setting that you're obviously using your Borescope isn't really set up to learn about information necessarily about the device. But Learn More is designed to really help you get information really quickly. If you're not sure about something, that's probably useful information that you'll be able to see in the Learn More state. This also exists for image transforms, not just measurement types. So you will be able to get information on live 3D stereo, as well as the other image transforms like dark boost and brightness and invert and inverse plus. There's a long list of information that we have for image transforms in this space as well. Okay, auto area. So again, this is a new feature. Once you've upgraded your MVIQ Plus to version 4.10 or 410, as I often kind of call it, you will get the ability to have this new measurement type, provided you have the advanced measurement bundle activated on your system. There is this thing called, there's a basic and there's an advanced measurement bundle. As you can see on the last point on here, if your system is equipped with the advanced measurement bundle, this feature automatically appears. What is it? So it enables you to generate an area measurement extremely quickly and extremely precisely. That's essentially what auto area does. And you can do that within one click, potentially, depending on the scene. It's important to kind of stress this is technology based on the contrast of the image. It is not based on artificial intelligence where it's been trained with components from, in this case, gas turbines. It will work on images from any scene of any origin. And it will work really well within one click of a button if there's high contrast, and it will work if there's areas of lower contrast, but that's when you use a different tool to generate the area. And you'll appreciate, basically, this is a snapshot image of oxidation of a part in a gas turbine on a HP nozzle guide vane. So you'll appreciate, perhaps some of those that are joining here or listening to this, is the leading edge of a nozzle guide vane aerofoil. And you've got essentially 3 areas of erosion on this image. And I was able to generate these 3 areas within, I'm going to say maybe 20 seconds, something like that, 30 seconds. This would have taken me several minutes using the traditional area measurement. The traditional area measurement type is still available. It certainly doesn't. This doesn't replace area. It's in addition to area. So it's a huge time saving, and you'll perhaps appreciate the detail upon which the perimeter is picking out the edge, in this case of erosion against TBC loss, if you can see my mouse hovering around the area. So being able to do that is very time consuming, and probably being human beings, we kind of cut corners and want to do things quickly. My measurement, if I was doing that manually using the area type, would be rather different. Perhaps not significant, it depends on the size and the complexity of the shape, but we'll all appreciate that it would not be as accurate and as precise in terms of highlighting the edges. And so this takes literally, like I said, 20, 30 seconds. As you can see on the left-hand side, so we've got these 3 colored areas, and these correspond to the 3 colored boxes you see on the left-hand side. And then you've got a total or an epsilon. You see the Greek symbol for epsilon here. So that provides you with the total area. So auto area enables you to add up to 5 different areas. So you can have 5 discrete zones highlighted as area. It will measure more areas, but there will be those additional areas. If you want to measure more than 5 areas, would have to be part of the 5 categories or 5 colors that you see here. And I'll demonstrate that later on my Borescope. And so it's really useful to be able to do this very, very quickly and accurately, you'll appreciate. And in some cases, there are certain inspection procedures where you need to kind of provide a sum total. So rather than getting your phone out or a calculator out or doing it old school on pen and paper, you get a measurement, a total measurement calculated immediately on the device. And as I move to the next slide, you'll notice that these areas are mutually exclusive. So if there were areas within areas, these calculations are mutually exclusive, so they don't overlap each other. And as a reminder, auto area is available as real 3D measurement. So as you heard me say earlier, real 3D measurement corresponds to 3D stereo and 3D phase measurement. So if you have the MVIQ and you have the advanced measurement bundle and you are using either a stereo tip or a phase measurement tip, you will be able to run through this workflow and use auto area. So a little bit more about auto area. Obviously, I'll be taking you through it in person on the live demonstration. So here's a pre-recorded video of me capturing an image associated with the HB turbine, leading edge of an HB turbine blade. And you saw me press a button that says tools, and I selected a tool called Auto Box. Auto Box is what I'm selecting now. So there's a click on the top left and a click on the bottom right, and you draw a box. These boxes are designed, these are tools that are designed such that you're telling the algorithm to focus in the area of the box and disregard all of the other surfaces. Now I'm just going to pause it there. Oh, if I can just go back a sec. Play. Right, and now pause. So I've drawn basically boxes around those 2 areas, and some of you will recognize those 2 areas correspond to actually holes or missing material in the leading edge of this blade. And you can see on the top right-hand side, there's a value associated with 8.3 millimeters square. So that is the combination of those 2 areas or boxes that I've designated under the sort of the blue category. And then I press the tools button, and I've selected, in this case, Auto Add. Now, Auto Add is another tool that's available to you on this on Auto Area. Auto Add is most ideal for areas of high contrast. And you can see it's picked out the whole leading edge and disregarded, obviously, these 2 areas of missing material that I previously assigned. And what I want to do is highlight, in this case, the oxidation. If you can see my sort of mouse pointer moving around on here. So it's clearly not highlighting the area of oxidation. So I did that kind of on purpose to show that Auto Add, in this case, is not the tool that I want to use. So I go and delete the cursor. and select auto box. So I move the cursor to the top left and I select on the screen again, and it selects the bottom right hand part of the box. Now, what I'm doing here is adjusting the position of the cursors such that it is going to hopefully, and it will do, highlight the area of oxidation that I'm looking for. And you can see on the, if I pause it again, you can see on the top left hand, see the green shape, the green box highlighting the area of almost 90 millimeters square. So again, it's down to you, the licensed sort of or trained inspector or operator, to obviously make sure that you're happy with the designation that it's providing. Again, this is based on contrast of the scene. These aren't images, or this isn't technology that was used to train. Unlike our assisted defect recognition, artificial intelligence based technology that we have on our device, which is a defect detector, that is a detector trained on images. So it's a true AI algorithm. This is based on technology that highlights scenes of high contrast, and it's leveraged such that it's optimized for these industrial scenes here that you see here. So if I can just carry on playing the video sequence. Once you press the done button, you're then produced or revealed or shown the point cloud. Oh, I didn't mean to press that button. Let's go back. Let's carry on to the point cloud. Here we go. And I was going to pause it. I'm going to pause it here. So having pressed done, and you've assigned all of your cursors and generated the areas of interest, having pressed done, you're presented with this view. This is the split point cloud view. So the 2D image is on the left and the 3D point cloud view is on the right hand side. If you wanted to, you could press the full point cloud button on the bottom here and you'd get the point cloud in the full screen. I've paused it here because I wanted to highlight to you that this is auto area uses the same measurement logic as the normal area measurement logic. So it generates the plane of best fit. So this being a curved surface, you'll recognize this is generating a plane such that there's surfaces above the plane and below the plane. And this is the average or plane of best fit generating the area measurement. It is not conforming to the surface. It would if it was a flat or planar surface, because plane of best fit will sit on that surface. But I'm picking out this example to highlight this is still the same technology, and you will generate the same area measurement using area measurement value as if you're using the area measurement type. This basically will just do it a lot quicker than the previous, than the basic area measurement type. Now, I haven't mentioned the third tool, which is draw and erase. I'll demonstrate that on the Borescope. But just quickly at this point, this tool allows you to basically start drawing manually with your finger or your stylus attached to the touchscreen. And you will be able to add extra surfaces or extra masked surface such that you'll be able to add to the area or generate a new area by drawing it. Or if you were happy with your area, except you needed to remove some area, you'll be able to press the erase tool. And again, you'll be able to draw with your finger across the screen and remove a material or a masked surface from the image and reduce that area that was measured. So that's for fine tuning. I've mentioned Learn More previously, so this is available. You'll be able to get more guidance on Learn More through the measurement menu. And a quick note, hopefully you're aware, or some of you will be aware, that with 3D measurement, 3D phase measurement and 3D stereo measurement using Real3D, we also have the ability to stitch images together. And on this device, we leverage the compute power and the memory of the new MVIQ Plus such that we can stitch up to 10 images and create a composite scene that has a lot of three-dimensional information. Some measurement types, including this one, auto area, is not yet compatible with a stitched image. Just wanted to kind of highlight that as well. A lot of the other measurements are, but not this one in the stitched scene. So auto area is only available on one image at a time. So that's a little bit of information. Spent about 20 minutes talking about auto area. Let's switch over to Live3D stereo. So different. So this is an image transform. This is not a measurement type, but it's associated with measurement. So what you see here is me activating Live3D stereo on my device. It's still in the live state. You can see on the top left-hand side, it says Live3D stereo. I'm moving my probe around, in this case, in a combustion chamber. And as you can see, for the first time on the right-hand side, we're able to generate a point cloud in the live state. So that's for the first time we've ever been able to do that. Why is that important? So certainly in the stereo state, or 3D stereo state, I should say, when you're approaching the scene or your point of where you need to interrogate and measure, whether it's a component or a distance or a defect, you would normally go into the freeze frame state and check the quality of your point cloud before proceeding into measurement. With Live3D stereo activated, you can generate the point cloud live, as I was showing you earlier in this video clip, and make sure you're confident and you're happy with the quality of that point cloud before proceeding into the measurement state. So we have this new soft key. You see the button on the bottom that says measure. So by pressing that, you go straight through into the measurement page, and it just enables you to proceed into the measurement state with that confidence that you've got a good quality point cloud, because you were able to check the point cloud whilst you're in the live state. Unlike before, you heard me say about auto area was part of the advanced measurement bundle. This Live3D stereo feature, this is part of the basic measurement bundle state. So if you have an MVIQ, regardless of the model of the MVIQ, if you have the basic bundle, then you will have this feature available to you on the Borescope. And if you have the advanced measurement bundle, then again, you also have this. A little bit more. I just activated my device. So Live3D stereo. So again, it's an image transform. So you activate Live3D stereo by pressing the image button on your Borescope. And once you press the image button, then you will see the button for Live3D stereo. Again, I'll demonstrate this on my practical demonstration shortly. It is only available for 3D stereo enabled devices. So if your device doesn't have that and it's only got the software for stereo, then it is not available to you, because stereo doesn't generate point cloud. It doesn't have that advanced software bundle where it generates a point cloud. It's only available for 3D stereo. And because 3D stereo, sorry, I keep mixing up my terms, is a visual-based measurement technology, the visual scene does have an impact on the quality of your measurement, and also the quality of your point cloud in this case. So we're bringing in the buttons associated with brightness and dark boost into the screen when you have Live3D stereo activated, to encourage you, if the scene isn't quite as well illuminated or composed and your point cloud is perhaps missing some data. It shouldn't be, but sometimes, depending on the scene and what surfaces you're looking at, by adjusting brightness and dark boost, or it could be a combination of both, can optimize the scene and optimize your point cloud, and therefore optimize or improve the accuracy of your measurement, which of course is very, very important. Reminder here again, there's more information in the Learn More page or menu that you see on the Borescope. Right, let's move across to my Borescope. And before I do, we will, at the end of the session, have a few moments to answer any questions. So if you've got any question, make a note of it or type it in the chat, and we can take you through those questions at the end. So I've kind of dragged my window across, and now you're seeing my Borescope. I thought I'd just highlight to you. So this is, if I go back to my live screen, you can see my Borescope. So if I go into my settings menu, I've gone to my about screen, and this is kind of my reminder that I left myself, was actually you can see the contents of our version, our software versions. We launched at version 4 last year. You can see the date, sort of April last year. And we had another version, sort of interim version, released in the summer of last year. So you can click into those and you can kind of, if I just minimize that. So you can kind of see the contents of each of these build types. And I wanted to just highlight that quickly here. So you get to see everything that went into, in this case, version 4.10. Obviously, I'm just focusing on the aspects associated with auto area and Live3D stereo. But you go into the About page, press the release notes history, and you're there. Right, let's go back to the live screen. So I have my stereo tip fitted. You can see it's clearly a stereo tip. And obviously I don't have like a real sort of engine component in front of it. This is, if I show you on the screen, this is my 3D measurement block that we have. It's full of machine surfaces or artifacts that are a real good way of sort of testing and showing, demonstrating the different measurement types that we have on our device. So if I'm just hovering over some depressions that you can see here, I press the image button. If I just use my joystick to sort of highlight two buttons of interest here. So with my stereo tip fitted, I've got the option. I will obviously talk about 3D stereo shortly, but if I went into single view, tapped that, selected my tip, because it's important that it knows which tip. So this is now a single view of my stereo tip. If I zoom out, that's what it looks like at 100%. So if I minimize my things, this might be, for instance, if you don't have a phase measurement tip or you want to use your stereo tip, if you've already found a defect and you have your stereo tip fitted, you might choose to navigate back into your asset with single view activated, because you might think that, or certainly I do, rather than navigating through your asset with a dual view such as this, it can be quite not confusing, but distracting. So we've got this single view. This is not new, but I'm just highlighting it because this is kind of applicable to using your Borescope with a stereo tip fitted. So that's with single view. So I can activate Live3D stereo now, or I can activate it with single view turned off. Just wanted to just say that now. So if I turn on Live3D stereo, I can use other transforms, but you can see a lot of these image transforms. Reminder, this is my image page. So all of these things are what we define as image transforms. Now that I've turned Live3D stereo on, as you can see by the indicator here, some of the transforms are now no longer available. That is because they either can't be, they can't be computed, or it's very memory hungry, or it's just not applicable. So those features are accessible. The important ones really in terms of altering your illumination, your visual scene, is brightness and dark boost. So you can see I've turned Live3D stereo on. I've pressed the done button, and you can now see, so it's a live image on the left, 2D image on the left, and you can see the point cloud on the right. So just like you can manipulate your point cloud. So let's zoom in on that depression. In this case, it's got the letter C next to it. So again, you've got to kind of keep remembering this is a stereo tip fitted, not a 3D phase measurement tip fitted. This is only applicable to stereo tips that are fitted. So as I manipulate the point cloud on the right-hand side, that will stay in that orientation. And so if I keep manipulating and moving the probe, or in this case, moving my component, I'm able to get a live interpretation of or representation of the point cloud. So if I go straight into measure, as I was sort of saying earlier, that's a quick way. I don't have to go into freeze frame. I don't have to press measurement. I can just press measure. And in this case, since it's a depression, I can quickly generate a depth measurement and interrogate, make sure I'm happy with the surfaces. I've talked about this in previous sessions. I'm checking my my 3D masks, so my green areas. Let's check my 4th point. And I can interpret. Oh, there we go. You can see the kind of the deepest points are shaded as red. So I kind of move my 4th point down to there. So none of the measurement workflow hasn't changed, but the way to get into measurement is much quicker when I've got live 3D stereo activated. So again, let's just drop back into the live state. And yeah, I can manipulate my probe around and move my component, and you can see how it refreshes the scene using my point cloud. If I go back into my image menu, turn off 3D stereo, and I'm going to turn off single view. So I've got the traditional dual view, as it were, stereo view. So this is kind of the traditional stereo view. And just to sort of demonstrate, I didn't have to go into single view. I can just turn on live 3D stereo, and I just drop into that state straight away. And these are the additional features that we have available. So by adjusting dark boost, it really wouldn't make a change here because I'm in such a well-illuminated office kind of space. But if I'm in a dark area, sometimes and often, adjusting not just brightness, but also dark boost can have a profound impact or positive impact on the quality of your point cloud. So by going down to page 2 of my soft keys, you're able to adjust brightness and dark boost very quickly. And if I have my depth map turned on, you can see the representation of the point cloud, but in a depth map. So as I move across my scene, you can see these depressions, not just in 2 dimensions on the left-hand side, but in using my depth map on the right-hand side, using my point cloud. Kind of looks like a thermal imaging camera, but it isn't. So it's the representation of the surface in a sort of a depth map that we have on the second row of soft keys. Right, so that's a quick demonstration of live 3D stereo. So I'm going to switch tips, remove my stereo tip, and attach my. I'm going to attach my 3D phase measurement tip. Again, I could have demonstrated auto area with my stereo tip because it works with 3D stereo as well as 3D phase. But just for, should we say, demonstration purposes, it's kind of good to show the different measurement types, measurement techniques. So let's turn off. Okay, that's off. It's now registered that my 3D, let's see the surface of my desk. There's my part. So I've removed the stereo tip. So that was my stereo tip. I've taken that off and attached. Let's zoom back out. There we go. Attached my 3D phase measurement tip. So again, you heard me say at the outset, 3D phase measurement is another aspect associated with Real3D. The real beauty of 3D phase is that you can use this as a generic inspection tip. It's a fantastic tip. We've got lots of, actually, it's a fantastic measurement technology is what I meant to say. There are actually 6 measurement tips. There's 3 forward and 3 side facing 3D phase measurement tips. This one is, which one did I pick? I think this is the orange tip. We're about to find out when I generate an image. Okay, so there's different ways of getting to where I need to be, but I have turned on, you can see the icon on the top right-hand side. So there's a little microphone. So I thought I would actually get to the measurement state by just talking to it. So I say, hey, Mentor, measure auto area. So it knows that a 3D phase measurement tip is fitted. So it's going to generate a 3D phase measurement image. Because it recognized my voice and saying auto area, it's not just gone into the measurement state, but it's actually selected auto area automatically. So it's done that automatically. So you've seen that just happen live. I'll do that manually just to sort of take you through the steps manually. But it's a real efficient way of getting into the measurement state by using voice commands. So I'm now in the measurement state. I've selected auto add, and this is the single point. So if I move it across the scene and I drag it across to perhaps there. So it's, again, this is one of the tools. This is the tool designed for areas of high contrast, and it determines clearly this depression as an area of high contrast. So it's a depression rather than, so I'm going to actually measure an area here, not a depth. I'll move it across to a different part and measure sort of an area of a flat surface shortly. So that's a quick way, and you can see it's less than a millimeter square, 0.7 of a millimeter square. So if I go into add area and press auto add again, so it's quickly, I'm just going to do that, and then I'll do it a third time. Let's just drop it over here and see if it picks up this surface. So it picks up that surface as well. And since it's tuned for, well, it's not tuned, it's designed to measure 5 different surfaces. So each time you can see me press the auto add button on the right hand side, and I'm going to just, actually, I'm just going to use my zoom window, just fine tune my point. So I know these are kind of fictitious surfaces. They're not actual engine components, but just demonstrating you, here we have 5 areas, discrete areas that are quickly measured. And you can see my add area button is now grayed out because I've reached the max limit of 5. But if I wanted to continue making area measurements, I can do, but it will be added to the last measurement type. So the blue that you see here. So what it was 2 millimeters, it's now 4 millimeters squared. So it's adding more areas, and it will continue. You'll be able to, there's an indefinite number of areas that you can add, but the actual, shall we say, types or categories of areas are limited to 5. And as a reminder, there's your total area at the top. So let's just go back to the live scene. Let's just do another area measurement, but in the old school way. So you press 3D PM capture. So it takes a few moments removing the light and projecting the red LEDs across the surface. So it's now generated the 3D face measurement, as you can see on the top right-hand side. I'm now in the freeze frame state. Going to my measurement state, I'm going to just use my joystick to highlight the button. So that's the button I want to press, or press enter against, auto area. And then I find myself in the same position as I was earlier, but I previously just said measure auto area once I said hey mentor. So every time you say hey mentor, it's going to wake up. So it took me, what was it, 3 or 4 button presses. I wasn't really counting. 1, 2, 3 button presses to get into here. Or you could just say hey mentor, do a measurement. I did that quietly to try not to make it confused. So if I go into, there you go, into auto area, let's pretend this is an area where it hasn't picked it up so well. So I generate a box. So this is me drawing a box around that area. And if I want to draw a box around the other surface up here, for instance, you can see how quickly it does that. Now, you're probably thinking, well, this is just obviously a plate and it's a surface, it's not a real surface. And you're obviously right. So if I go into one of my samples images and actually show that picture of a turbine blade that you obviously saw me do earlier, I'm going to delete all that. So this is a measurement that I took earlier. It wasn't with this tip, it was some months ago. So it was a different tip that I'm using now, different serial number. So obviously I'm in an engine. So this is the picture that you saw in my video earlier. So I go into add measurements, press auto area, press auto box. So it's found that area of missing material quickly. And actually, if I draw it across the 2 surfaces, you'll realize actually it's not highlighting it very well. So that's why I've just drawn it around one of the holes or areas of missing material. I don't want to press auto add. I don't want to press add area. I'm going to press tools again and select the box again, because I want to add another area of the same category or mask. So it's added those 2 areas together to form 8 millimeters squared. So that's my missing material. So now I want to generate an area associated with the oxidation that surrounds this area of missing material. So I press In this case, I'm going to press, obviously, add area. I'm now, because you heard me say earlier, this is an area of low contrast, so the box is better than the single point in this case. So here, this is where it's really down to your judgment to make sure that you're happy. That's actually pretty good. So I'm looking for that area of oxidation to pick out, and it's done pretty well there. I'm quite happy with that. So I press done. And then you're in that state that I showed you earlier, where you can either go into the 4-point cloud. Yeah, I meant to go there, 4-point cloud. As opposed to the measurement point cloud. This is the measurement point cloud where it's cropped. And you heard me say earlier, so this is using the same logic as before. So I'm kind of highlighting it on the leading edge of this turbine blade because obviously it's a curved surface. So this is the same logic that traditional area measurements are calculated. So it's not going to generate a different area measurement. It just gets you there a lot quicker than you would otherwise. And I think that's it. So that's the demonstration of auto area and live 3D stereo. So let's move on. If you've got any questions, we'll address those in a few minutes. Just a short comment associated with getting the software. If you have an MVIQ Plus already, fantastic. If you don't, you either have a different Borescope or you might have an older version of MVIQ. What you see on the right-hand side, we actually introduced MVIQ for the first time to the market in 2014. So yeah, pretty much 10 years ago now. And then we upgraded in 2017 to the second generation, which is MVIQ, still called the same thing, but it's not gray, it's orange colored. And we kind of also call that flame sometimes. That's the flame device. And then this time last year, so 12 months ago in 2024, we introduced the third generation MVIQ. And we called it the MVIQ Plus. So it is brand new. And this is the first major update above the software and the build that was introduced this time last year, so OS 4.10. So if you haven't got the MVIQ Plus, we do have sort of trade-in deals and options to really help you financially, because there are credits associated with your trade-in of your devices to upgrade and trade in and get the latest third generation MVIQ Plus. It's a much more powerful computer. It runs for a longer time, and there's practical benefits associated with the accessories and mounting it. So it's improved in all sorts of ways. And even the probe, it's not just the software and the computer on the device, but the probe itself associated with the new MVIQ Plus. It's a lot more precise in its steering. It's a lot more capable, and it lasts a lot longer than it has done in the past. So with our steering engine, as we like to call it, has been significantly improved, as well as the computer itself. So there are trade-in options associated with upgrading your device. But if you've already got the MVIQ Plus already, to upgrade it, to upgrade the software, so the previous version was version 4, from version 4 to version 4.1, or 4.10 as we're calling it here, it's basically one of two methods. You connect your device to the account, to the network. So if I go back to my Borescope again, I'll just show you on my Borescope. Let's maximize that. Go back to my live screen. And I go to connectivity. So my Wi-Fi is turned on and I'm connected to my network. So that happens to be the network that I'm connected to. That's my home office. When you're connected, you can see the Wi-Fi symbol appear on the top right-hand side. And now my device is connected. So I'm basically connecting it to the Inspection Works store. That's what the device is looking to see if I'm on the latest software. If it's already on the latest software, it won't continue looking. It just realizes you're on the latest software. If you're not on the latest software, the notification will appear and you will be invited to, if I just show it here on my device, go to System Update, and then you're basically invited to upgrade, because the Check Now button, let's press it, won't do anything because I'm on the latest software. Basically, it will recognize that you're not on the latest software, and you press a button and it will manage the download of that software, and it will manage the install of that software. it does require your system to reboot twice. And roughly speaking, it takes 15 minutes to download and install. And that is all you need to do. The alternative to option 1 is to do it, should we say, using your USB thumb drive. So you do need to go manually into inspectionworks.com using your computer, and you download the file from your computer essentially down to a USB thumb drive. You insert the thumb drive into your MVIQ Plus, and the same will happen. It will recognize the file on your thumb drive, and you will press the button that I showed earlier, and it will manage the upgrade for you. And as a reminder, so if you've got the basic measurement bundle, you will have exposure to the Live3D stereo feature that I've taken you through. If you do have the advanced, you will not just have Live3D stereo, but you'll also have the new measurement type for auto area. I haven't mentioned it. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned it to date. So we have upgraded or updated the Real3D measurement handbook. So this is our Bible in terms of it contains a lot of information, a lot of detailed information about everything associated with measurement. It's one of the key topics that we hold dear to our heart in Waygate Technologies, and to me personally. So here's an excerpt associated with auto area. So lots of aspects associated with best practice and how to use it, not just contained on the device through Learn More, as you've heard me say, but also within this, this PDF document. And this is available on our website through that link on the top right-hand side, or that website on the top right-hand side. So thank you very much. Brief just comment, this is associated with OS 4.10, which clearly is now available now. But there's lots more that's part of OS 4.10. I'll take you through the contents of that in other sessions. So we spent essentially most of last year working on OS 4.10, and it's only just come out a few weeks ago. So that's why we kind of just want to start talking about it now. It's now available. Once you've upgraded, you'll get all sorts of information, and you saw through my release notes pretty much all of the contents of OS 4.10. So yeah, that's the end of my session. Thank you very much for sitting through all that. If there's any questions, now's a great time to pose them or ask them. I don't see anything yet appearing. We'll just give it a few more seconds. But thank you very much for joining. Thank you for watching. You can always reach out to me offline. My name is Tom Danvers. My email address is tom.danvers@bakerhughes.com. Otherwise, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.